What if I told you that every night your male cat curls up beside you, he's sending you 6 specific messages you've probably never noticed? Because when he chooses your bed over every soft couch, every warm blanket, and every hidden corner in the house, he isn't just looking for somewhere comfortable. He's telling you exactly where you sit in his world. Hi everyone, I'm Leo Bennett, your neighborhood cat guy. Today I'm going to decode all 6 so that tonight when he jumps up onto the bed, you'll understand what you're actually watching. And stay with me to the last one because it's the one that explains why separating a cat from the person he sleeps beside is harder on him than most owners realize. Small thing before we carry on. This is one chapter of a much bigger conversation about what your cat is trying to tell you, and I've gathered all of it into a book called The Happy Cat Manual over at leobennettsecrets.com. Go take a look if you want more happy years with your cat. That's all. Let's start with the biggest one. Number 1. You're inside his inner territory. Male cats are territorial, but territory doesn't mean what people assume it means. It isn't about dominance or ownership in the human sense. For a cat, territory is layered, and the layers do different jobs. There's the outer range, the patrol area. That's where he stays alert, checks borders, monitors what's changed. Then there are neutral zones, where other animals and other people are tolerated but never quite trusted. And then there's the core, the inner sanctuary, the place a cat defends and, more importantly, the only place he'll allow himself to be genuinely unguarded. Now think about what sleep is for a cat. Sleep is the most dangerous state a cat ever enters. Unconscious, he can't watch, can't run, can't react to anything. Every instinct he owns says get high, get hidden, get somewhere nothing can reach you. So when your cat chooses to sleep beside you, in the open, on a bed, in the middle of a room with multiple entrances, he's overriding that instinct. And instincts that old don't get overridden by mild preference. He isn't just tolerating you, he's placed you inside the core territory. You're not somebody he lives with, you're part of the safe place itself. And here's a detail worth watching for. If he positions himself between you and the door, or sleeps facing outward with his back pressed against you, that isn't random. He's taken the side that faces the room. In his mind, your safety has become part of the job, which is worth appreciating because a cat doesn't hand that out. Most of what a cat protects, they protect alone. Including you in it is a category change. Number 2, he settles his body to yours. Watch what actually happens when your cat lies down against you. Your legs, your side, your chest. He doesn't drop straight into sleep. He arranges himself. And then there's a stretch of a minute or two where he's still, and you can feel his breathing gradually slow down and lengthen. That's not just warmth. He's settling to your rhythm. Your body is doing a great deal of signaling while you lie there. Breathing, heartbeat, the small movements of a person who's relaxed versus a person who isn't. Cats are extraordinarily good at reading those, because reading small physical signals is how a small predator stays alive. And what he's reading tells him whether it's safe to switch off. A calm body next to him means the environment is calm, because you're a second set of senses and he knows it. If you were worried, he reasons, you'd be moving. So he lets go. This is also why so many owners report the same thing, that during a genuinely difficult period in their life, their cat suddenly started sleeping on their chest rather than at their feet. The cat hadn't changed, the person had, and the cat noticed. So it runs in both directions. He's using you to settle, and you're getting a warm, purring, breathing weight on you at the end of the day, which does more for most people than they'd admit. Ask anyone who's spent a night away from a cat they normally sleep with. The bed feels wrong, and they usually can't say why. Number 3, he knows your routine better than you do. Cats are exceptional pattern readers. It's one of the things they're genuinely best at because a predator who can predict what happens next spends less energy being surprised. So consider how much of your evening your cat has memorized. He knows the sound of your toothbrush. He knows which lights you turn off and in what order. He knows how long you sit still before you finally stand up. He knows the rhythm of your footsteps in the hallway. And he can tell the walk that ends in the bedroom from the walk that ends in the kitchen. Plenty of cats won't settle until they've heard one specific cue, a door lock, a lamp switch, the sound of a blind coming down. That's the signal that the night has officially started. And here's the part people miss. He doesn't only observe the routine, he tries to influence it. If your cat gets vocal in the evening, or circles you, or walks a few steps toward the bedroom and then stops and looks back at you, that's not random. That's a cat applying pressure. He's herding you toward bed because night is when he gets the most uninterrupted contact with you in the entire 24 hours, and he'd rather it started now than in 40 minutes. So if your cat gets noticeably insistent around the same time every evening, and you've been reading it as hunger, watch where he goes when he stops meowing. A cat who walks off toward the bedroom rather than the kitchen has told you what he was actually asking for. Number 4. His sleeping position tells you how he sees his role. Where he lies is not a comfort decision, or rather, it's not only a comfort decision. If he sleeps on your pillow or up above your head, that's height plus proximity. Height is safety for a cat. It's the position that gives the best view and the earliest warning. And from up there, he can monitor the room while staying in contact with you. That's the guard post with a view. If he sleeps at the foot of the bed, that's what I'd call guardian distance. He's positioned to react to movement quickly, with clear space around him, while still keeping the connection. It's the compromise between being close and being ready, and it's the position you'll see most often in a cat who's confident, but not entirely relaxed about the household, a new pet in the house, or building work, or anything that's put him slightly on edge. And the rarest one is full body contact, curled tight against your chest, or your stomach, or the length of your side, with no gap at all. That one comes straight from kittenhood. Kittens sleep pressed into their mother in a heap, because contact is warmth and warmth is survival, and it's the first thing a cat ever learns about feeling safe. So, for an adult male cat, typically the most territorial, the most independent, the most invested in having his own space, to sleep that way means he's dropped his defenses entirely. He isn't monitoring anything. He isn't holding any part of himself ready. He's concluded that with you, he doesn't have to, and that conclusion took years to reach. Number 5. He's on watch all night. Here's something that surprises people. Even when your cat looks completely unconscious, he never really goes fully off duty. Cats aren't built for one long block of sleep the way we are. They sleep in bouts, and they surface briefly between them, over and over across the night. Most of those surfaces last a few seconds, and you'd never notice them happening. But watch closely during one, and you'll see what he's actually doing. The eyes crack open. The ears rotate, independently in different directions, sampling the room. He'll lift his head slightly and take in the air. That's a full environmental scan, and the whole thing takes about 2 seconds before he's back down again. Nothing about it looks like effort. It's simply built in. And here's what makes it personal rather than just instinctive. He calibrates it to you. If you're sleeping soundly and lying still, those checks are shorter and less frequent. If you're restless, shifting around, breathing unevenly, waking up, his checks increase. Some cats will physically reposition themselves closer when that happens. And this is very likely why your cat is often awake before your alarm goes off. People assume it's hunger, and sometimes it is. But a cat sleeping against you for years has learned what your body does in the minutes before you surface, and he's simply reading the signal he's read 1,000 times before. And number 6, the one I told you about at the start. This is not a habit. It's a bond with real biology under it. Physical closeness between people and the animals they live with does measurable things to both parties. It lowers stress, it slows the heart, it calms the nervous system. There's genuine research on the human side of this, and cat owners feel it whether or not they think about it. The deeper sleep, the settling effect of a purr, the fact that a night without the cat on the bed feels subtly wrong. But here's the piece that matters most, and it's about what sleep does in the brain. Sleep is when memory consolidates. It's when the day's experiences get filed and the connections that matter get reinforced. So think about what's happening night after night, for years. Your cat is spending his most vulnerable hours pressed against you, and every one of those nights strengthens the association between you and safety. Not as an idea, as wiring. That's why you end up encoded as essential rather than optional. Not because he decided you were, but because a few thousand safe nights in a row is a very persuasive argument to a nervous system. And it's also why separation is genuinely hard on a co-sleeping cat. This is the part owners don't anticipate. A cat who slept beside the same person for years and then suddenly can't because of a hospital stay, a work trip, a house move, a bedroom door that's now closed, very often shows it. Restlessness, reduced appetite, disrupted sleep, vocalizing at night. Sometimes a cat who seems fine all day and falls apart at bedtime. That's not your cat being dramatic, and it isn't him punishing you. That's a routine his entire sense of safety was built on, suddenly missing, with no way for anyone to explain why. So if you know a separation is coming, do the small things. Leave something of yours that smells like you on the bed. Keep the rest of the routine intact. Same feeding times, same evening rhythm, so that the thing that changed is only one thing rather than everything. And if you've been shutting him out of the bedroom, understand that from his side, you haven't set a boundary. You've closed the most important room in his territory. So let me pull it together. He sleeps beside you because you're inside his core territory, and he sleeps facing the door because he's decided your safety is part of the job. He settles his breathing to yours because your calm tells him the room is calm. He's memorized your entire evening, and he's actively nudging you toward bed. His position tells you whether he's guarding, watching, or has given up guarding entirely. He wakes several times a night to check the room, and how often depends on how you're sleeping. And every one of those nights is reinforcing you as the safest thing in his world. That's a lot of information to be handing you in complete silence. So the next time he jumps up onto the bed and does his 3 circles and settles against your leg, understand what you're actually looking at. He isn't just going to sleep somewhere warm. Out of every option in that building, this is the spot he picked. And he picked it because of who's in it. To him, your bed isn't furniture. It's the safest place in the world. And most of that has nothing to do with the mattress. So tell me in the comments, where does your cat sleep? The pillow, the foot of the bed, or full contact? And does what I've just described match what you see? I'd particularly like to hear from anyone whose cat changed position during a rough patch in their life, because I suspect a few of you just realized something. Hit like, subscribe, and send this to somebody who shares a bed with a cat. I'm Leo Bennett, and tonight, when he settles, don't move your leg.